It's late afternoon, the kind where the light seems to cling desperately to the edges of the world, not ready to give in to the darkness. My heart hammers against my chest as I push open the door to Pleasure's Palace, a name that always struck me as over the top. The tinkle of the bell seems unnaturally loud in my ears as I step inside. My wife, Sarah, works here, and for the longest time, I had avoided this place. Today, curiosity, or perhaps some deeper, darker feeling, has driven me through its doors. I keep my head low, hoping my baseball cap and the scarf loosely thrown around my neck disguise my identity enough. The shop is dimly lit, perfumed with an exotic blend of incense and jasmine. Shelves lined with colorful boxes, gadgets, and costumes fill the space. A few customers mill around, their faces flushed with a mix of embarrassment and excitement. I shuffle awkwardly past a display of vibrantly colored dildos, my gaze inadvertently catching on a couple whispering conspiratorially over a rack of lacy lingerie. The atmosphere is thick with a palpable sense of the forbidden. At the counter, a man with a pierced eyebrow and a welcoming smile nods at me. "First time here, buddy?" he asks, his voice friendly. "Yeah," I mumble, not stopping to chat. I move deeper into the labyrinth of shelves. My goal isn't just to browse, I need to understand this part of Sarah's world that I've never dared to venture into before. My eyes scan over the products, and my stomach churns. I've known about her job since we met. She was always upfront about it, her openness a stark contrast to my reserved nature. Maybe that's what fascinated me about her, her comfort with her sexuality, a topic I've always found myself stumbling over. As I round a corner, I overhear a snippet of conversation from a curtained area in the back of the shop. The words are muffled, but the tone is unmistakable, intimate, suggestive. A chill runs down my spine. Sarah had mentioned that the shop had private booths for consultations. I'd never pressed the matter, choosing ignorance instead. Compelled by a force I can't resist, I edge closer to the curtain, my breath catching as I hear a laugh I recognize all too well, Sarah's laugh. "Are you sure you want to try this?" Her voice is playful, teasing. I shouldn't listen, but I'm frozen, a statue of shock and burgeoning betrayal. The man's response is a low murmur, his words lost to me. My heart sinks, my mind reels with the implications. Gritting my teeth, I retreat to the safety of the more public part of the shop. I need to see her, to confront this scene with my own eyes. Making a decision, I circle back to the entrance and approach the counter. The same pierced man gives me a curious look as I lean in, my voice barely a whisper. "I'd like to book a session, anonymously if possible. Is there a way to ensure the person doesn't know it's me?" His eyebrow arches, but he nods, pulling out a form. "We respect privacy here. Use a pseudonym, and you can wear a mask." I scribble down a fake name, my hand trembling. I choose the next available slot with Sarah. The idea of revenge, once a distant, bitter seed, begins to sprout within me. I will see this through, discover the truth for myself. "Thanks," I mutter, my throat tight. The man winks, a gesture meant to be comforting, perhaps. As I step outside, the evening has finally surrendered to the night. The streetlights flicker on, casting long shadows on the pavement. I walk away, my mind a whirlwind of plans and possibilities. Today was just the beginning. The truth awaits, and with it, a resolution, one way or another. I'm no longer just a bystander in my own life. The game, whatever it is, has truly begun. The day of the appointment feels unreal, as if I'm walking through a scene carefully set by someone else. My steps are heavy as I return to Pleasure's Palace, my mind a battleground of doubt and anger. I'm wearing a dark hoodie pulled tight around my face, and a mask that covers the lower half of my face, rendering me unrecognizable. Inside, the shop is busier than the last time. A group of giggling college students browses through the novelties section, their laughter piercing the air like shards of glass. I sidestep a young couple debating over flavored lubricants and head straight to the counter where a new face, a woman with striking red hair and a sharp gaze, greets me. "Can I help you?" she asks, her tone professional yet warm. "I have an appointment," I murmur, giving her the pseudonym I used to book the session. She checks her computer, then nods, gesturing toward the back. "Right this way, Mr. Smith." As we walk through the aisles, I feel every eye on me, though I know it's just my paranoia. The red-haired woman stops at the same curtained area I overheard Sarah from last time. She pulls the curtain back slightly, allowing me to enter while she remains outside. "Sarah will be with you shortly," she says before disappearing, the curtain falling shut with a soft swish. The room is dimly lit, with soft music playing in the background. The air is heavy with the scent of vanilla and sandalwood. I take a seat on the plush sofa, my heart pounding in my chest. After what feels like an eternity, the curtain rustles and Sarah steps in. She's transformed from the woman I know at home. Here, she's confident, her presence commanding. She doesn't recognize me under the mask and hood. "Hello," she says, her voice sultry. "What are we exploring today?" I clear my throat, disguising my voice. "I'm interested in role-playing." "The fantastic choice," she responds, her eyes lighting up with genuine interest. She walks over to a cabinet and pulls out several costumes. "Any particular scenario in mind?" I pick a scenario at random, not really focusing on the details. My mind is racing, trying to find the right moment to confront her, to reveal who I really am. As she explains the different roles and sets the scene, there's a knock on the door. Surprised, Sarah excuses herself and opens the curtain slightly. A hushed conversation ensues, too low for me to catch any words. She looks back at me, an apology in her eyes. "I'm sorry, but I need to handle something quickly. I'll be right back, okay?" As she slips out, I'm left alone, my thoughts are chaotic. She does. I should leave, confront her at home, but something keeps me seated, a morbid curiosity about how she handles this other life of hers. Minutes tick by, and I hear raised voices just outside the curtain. I can't make out everything, but one angry voice stands out. It's the red-haired woman from the front desk, and she's arguing with someone about unprofessional behavior and jeopardizing our reputation. The curtain whips open, and Sarah steps back in, her face flushed, her mask of professionalism slipping slightly. "I'm really sorry about that," she says, her voice a mix of frustration and embarrassment. "Where were we?" Before I can respond, the curtain parts again, and the red-haired woman steps in, her eyes sharp. "Sarah, we need to talk. Now." With a sigh, Sarah nods, her eyes meeting mine, still unaware of who I am. "I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. We'll need to reschedule." As they leave, the mystery deepens, the tension between Sarah and her colleague hinting at troubles beneath the surface. I leave the room, the weight of the mask heavier than ever. My plan to confront her today falls apart, but now, more than revenge, I need answers to questions I hadn't even known to ask. The next few days are a blur of unrest and suspicion. My interactions with Sarah at home are strained, punctuated by silent meals and distant conversations. My mind is still grappling with the scene at Pleasure's Palace, the argument behind the curtain, and Sarah's unexplained involvement. The need for clarity becomes a throbbing ache in the back of my mind, urging me toward a resolution. Determined, I decide to visit the shop again, this time under the pretense of genuine curiosity about their products, hoping to glean some insight into the mysterious argument I overheard. This afternoon, the sky is overcast, the clouds hanging low as if mirroring my turmoil. As I enter the shop, the same red-haired woman, whom I now know as Maggie, stands behind the counter. Recognizing me despite my earlier disguise, she raises an eyebrow. "Back again so soon? Didn't get enough last time?" Her voice is tinged with a mocking humor. I approach, keeping my tone neutral. "Actually, I wanted to talk about some products and possibly reschedule my appointment." Maggie sizes me up, her gaze sharp, but then softens. "I see. Let me show you some items that might interest you." As she leads me around, explaining various products with practiced ease, I steer the conversation towards the staff. "So, how long have you been working here with Sarah?" I ask casually. Maggie pauses, her expression tightening. "A few years now." "Why do you ask?" Just curious, I say with a shrug. She seems to handle a lot of responsibilities here. She does, Maggie replies, her tone cautious. She does, Maggie replies. Sarah is one of our best. But this isn't always an easy job. The stress can get to anyone, you know? Her words strike a chord, and I nod, feeling the first stirrings of empathy amidst my suspicions. I can imagine. It must be tough dealing with different situations. Maggie stops in front of a shelf filled with high-end vibrators and leans in closer, lowering her voice. Look, I don't usually talk about this, but if you're considering being a regular, you should know that sometimes the lines get blurred here. People think this is just fun and games, but emotions run high, and, well, things happen. Her implication hangs in the air, heavy and unspoken. My stomach churns, but I keep my expression neutral. I appreciate the honesty, I reply, looking around to ensure no one else is listening. Was that what the argument was about the other day? Maggie's eyes flicker with surprise, then resignation. You heard that, who? Yeah, it was part of it. We try to keep things professional, but sometimes personal feelings get in the way. It's hard when you see the same people crossing lines they shouldn't. The pieces begin to fall into place, painting a picture I'm not sure I want to see. My heart races as I consider the implications of her words. I understand. Maybe it's best if I think things over before rescheduling, I say, my mind racing with this new information. Maggie nods, her expression unreadable. Take all the time you need. This place isn't for everyone. As I leave the shop, the cool air hits me like a wave. The street seems different now, every shadow a hiding place for secrets. The weight of the unknown presses down on me, but a resolve settles over my heart. I need to confront Sarah, not as an avenger, but as a husband seeking the truth in the tangled web of our lives. Tonight, I decide, will be the night I ask her, no more games, no more secrets. Whatever the truth, it's time to face it, together. The evening air is crisp as I pace back and forth in our living room, rehearsing the confrontation in my mind. My heart pounds, not only with the fear of what I might discover, but also with the dread of the potential rift between us. The clock ticks loudly in the background, marking time until Sarah's arrival. The sound of the door opening breaks the tense silence. Sarah steps in, her face weary from the day's work, her smile forced as she sees me waiting. Hey, you're home early, she says, dropping her bag and coming over to give me a peck on the cheek. Her usual warmth does nothing to ease the knot in my stomach. Sarah, we need to talk, I say, my voice more stern than I intend. Her smile fades, replaced by a look of concern. What's wrong? You're scaring me. I take a deep breath, my resolve firming. It's about your job. I know there's more going on there than just selling products. I overheard some things, and I spoke to Maggie today. Sarah stiffens, her eyes widening slightly. What did Maggie tell you? She mentioned that things can get personal, that lines are often blurred. I watch her closely, searching for any sign of deceit. Sarah sighs, a long and weary exhalation, as she sits down heavily on the sofa. I was afraid this would come up someday. I sit beside her, my mind racing. Is there something you need to tell me? She nods slowly, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Yes, but it's not what you think. The shop, yes, it's a bit unconventional. But my role there, it's complicated. Her hesitation gnaws at me, but I prompt gently, just tell me, Sarah. There's a part of the shop that helps people, really helps them. Not just selling toys, but providing a space for those who are struggling with their identities, their relationships. It's discreet, therapeutic in a way. But it's not always seen that way, not even by everyone who works there, she explains, her voice earnest. I blink, taken aback. Therapeutic? So, you're helping people? Yes. I've been training under a certified therapist. We create scenarios, role plays that help our clients work through their issues. It's all consensual and professional, but I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid you'd misunderstand, think something else. The pieces click into place, but not as I had expected. My suspicions, my planned confrontations, all seem misguided now. So, there's no affair? No. Cheating? I ask, almost afraid of her answer. No. Never, she says, her eyes filling with tears. I love you. This job, it's weird, I know, but I thought I could make a difference. Maybe I was wrong to keep it from you. I take her hand, feeling a wave of relief mixed with shame for doubting her. No, Sarah, I'm sorry I jumped to conclusions. I should have asked you, talked to you sooner. She squeezes my hand, her smile returning, tinged with relief. Does this mean you forgive me? I do. And maybe I can try to understand your work better, if you're willing to share more with me. Her face lights up. Of course, I'd love that. As we sit together, the distance between us bridged by honest words, I realize how close I came to letting my fears and imagination ruin the foundation of trust and love we built. Sarah's job is unusual, yes, but her intentions are rooted in compassion, a side of her I had yet to fully appreciate. The doorbell rings suddenly, breaking the moment. Confused, I go to answer it. Standing outside is Maggie, a sheepish look on her face. I thought you should have this, she says, handing me an envelope. It's from the owner of Pleasure's Palace. He thinks you should know the full story. Puzzled, I take the envelope, thanking Maggie as she nods and walks away, her voice earnest. Back inside, Sarah and I open it together. It's a letter of commendation, praising Sarah for her exceptional guidance and empathy in handling difficult cases, accompanied by testimonials from numerous clients she's helped. As we read, tears of pride fill my eyes. Sarah, my incredible wife, not only faithful but a silent hero to many. I pull her close, my heart full, knowing our journey ahead will be filled with more honesty, bravery, and understanding than ever before.